Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a BMW dealership. This is part 1 of the tutorial. In part 2, I will show you how to make all of the vehicles. By the way, let me know if you did see where I was hiding in the intro to this video. I hid myself pretty well. I'd love to see if you guys can tell me where I was. Let me know down there in the comment section. The white concrete grid on the screen represents the amount of space required to make your build. Do feel free to build this in your world if you do feel as though it will help you out, and mark out the starting position. Here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin by placing a cyan terracotta on top of the previously designated starting position. Extend left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to place 3 smooth quartz block on top of that 4th cyan terracotta. 1, 2, 3. We then want to mark out this block by placing a light grey concrete in front of it. However, we also want to extend the quartz up by an additional 2. 1, 2. Just like this. We then want to take the smooth quartz that is behind the light grey concrete, and it may even make more sense to replace the quartz with a concrete, and then continue by extending that concrete left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which we then want to connect down to the ground, but also up by 3. 1, 2, 3. And extend right by 2. 1, 2. What we then want to do is continue extending the original row to the left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we want to connect down to the ground. And then we want to extend up by 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And then join back. We then want to continue extending to the left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time, we are not going to join down to the ground, we are going to extend up, however, and then join upwards like this. But what we will do is, instead of joining down to the ground with light grey concrete, we will join down to the ground using light grey glass. And this glass also has to go on a little bit of a journey, so I want you to dig underneath the glass that is on the ground and place a sea lantern there instead. We then want to dig forwards in front of the glass by 3. I've already dug 1 hole, so 2, 3. We then want to dig left 1, and then forwards 1, and then we want to dig to the left by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dig in 1, left 1, and then dig forwards by 2, so 1, 2. And we're going to place sea lanterns in this little trench that we have dug like this. So now that we have done that, we want to continue by extending the light grey concrete that we joined down to the ground with glass. We want to extend to the left by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we are going to join that down to the ground by placing 2 smooth quartz block with then a cyan terracotta on the ground. So you can see how this all connects together. Extend the end light grey concrete up by 1. Leave a gap of 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then place 1, 2 light grey concretes extending up. And then we want to extend the bar across the top, across diagonally, to give us this shape. So it's a very strange shape that we have for the front of the build so far, but this is exactly what we are looking at. And now that we have done this, we now want to work our way over to the right side of the build, and we want to extend this cyan terracotta that started the entire build off backwards by 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We then want to extend this 18th block all the way across the back of the build, and the point is to join it to the opposite corner on the front of the build. So you can kind of extend each of these across together at the same time to form this rectangular shape. On the back of the build, we want to place a row of 4 smooth quartz block on top of each of the back corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the opposite side also, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to extend the 4th blocks inwards towards the center by placing 3 light grey glass, 1, 2, 3, and then a light grey concrete. We should be able to do this all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So it should look exactly like this. We then want to raise up the outer light grey concretes each by 1, and then the next inward light grey concretes we want to extend up by 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and finally the center concrete up by 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're not going to fill anything else in right now, but I think now is a really good time to make the interior floor before we get too much further and we make it difficult for ourselves. The floor section is as simple as replacing all of the grass inside of the building with polished diorite. Feel free to change the material, but I really like it. With the interior floor made, we can now add some further detail to the outside of the build that will prepare us for making the walls and the roof. So the main entrance to the dealership is right here. It is this gap on the right of the build. We're going to place a row of light grey glass up the left side, inside of the light grey concrete, with then a row of light grey stained glass pane and an end rod suspended in front of the middle glass pane. We then, to the left of this, want to fill these 2 window sections in using glass block. You can use glass pane as well if you like, if you want to have a bit of contrast. What we also want to do is extend the top of the glass outwards from the top row of glass block, and we want to follow the shape of the sea lanterns here on the left side of the build. So we want to have a row of glass that literally is just suspended in the air and extends from the top of the window in the same way that the sea lanterns does in the ground, which will then allow us to place a row of light grey concrete on top of the glass, just like this. It wants to be curved in the same manner. You can either fill the top of this in with glass, or I am opting to simply just fill it in using light grey concrete. Then we are going to extend this area forwards and to the right across the top of the build like this. So we want to have a little overhang above all of the windows that stems from that circular area over here, and it connects all the way to the sticking out light grey concrete that we placed earlier, almost as if it was planned. The next part that we are going to do is add string around the edge of the glass block area. This is the rounded part of the build, which we should then be able to place light grey carpet on top of. And it should just give us a nice little effect, like this. Something else that I would like to do whilst we are just kicking around here, from the front right hand corner of the building, we want to move inwards diagonally by 1. We then want to place a fern, extend left by 2. From the centre fern, we want to place a row of 2 oak leaves, and then surround the leaves with ferns. It's just a very, very small decoration for the build. And once that has been complete, we are now able to work on more of the structure of the building. It is very, very simple from here. So what we have to do next is really simple, but can be a little bit tricky at the same time. So first of all, we have to raise up the walls around the build by filling in the areas marked out with smooth quartz blocks. So we already know how high they have to be because of the rows on the back, so we just want to fill the walls in the relevant positions in using smooth quartz. Once that has been taken care of, we can now make the frame for the roof. The roof is made out of polished andesite slabs. It starts on the edge of the top of the building. I'm starting on the front top right hand corner, just right on the side of the 4th smooth quartz block. Place one on the side, extend it forward so that it overhangs the build, and then follow this pattern. You want to extend into, up one, into, up one, into, up one. And you should be able to see from where I stopped where you should stop as well, because the top middle part of the roof is rather flat. So you'll be able to see, we don't want to follow that pattern all the way up to the top. We do want to leave a smooth flat bit. And once we have finished on one side, we're going to come all the way over to the other side and we are going to follow the exact same technique. So out one, into, up one, into, up one, into, up one, into. Once that has been done, we want to achieve the exact same effect on the back. We want to join it together on these sides, and this gives us a good rough guideline for the roof. And then with this, knowing roughly like where the roof is going to sit on the build, we can add the glass block inside of the upper sections on the front and back of the roof, or the front and back of the building. We can fill that in using light grey glass block. Then we kind of have to figure out, because slab roofs are weird, especially when you start adding aberrations like in by 2 instead of like in 1, up 1, in 1. We are going to connect the glass together on the outer parts of the build. So on the left and right side, we're going to connect the glass front to back, the top layer of glass. We're then going to do that on the next inward section. We just want to take the top of the glass section and we just want to connect it front to back like so. But then for the very top of the build, we want to place a row of glass that is higher than the rest. So we don't just want to follow along the top of the light grey concrete. We want to place a row of glass that is just a little row high. So you can see that the actual roof glass actually like curves inwards and upwards. Hopefully you can kind of understand how to make it just by looking at it, but once you've kind of figured that out, you've connected all of the glass together, there's basically no holes in the roof. We then want to add light grey concrete connecting the gaps together front and back as well. So you'll see that there's gaps in the glass because we are leaving the gaps as we are gradiating up. We just want to place light grey concrete in between those gaps. We also want to add another layer of andesite slab just on the front and back part of the roof, just sitting on top of the concrete parts. It just looks a little bit better in my opinion. And last but not least, we also want to add glass underneath the curved section on the front of the build, connecting the top row of glass all the way down to the ground to the sea lanterns. And once you've done that, with the entire roof section complete, this means that we have pretty much made the entire structure of the building. Once we've added more details outside, we can concentrate on the inside. Come all the way over to the front left hand corner of your grid and place a white concrete on top of it. Extend it to the right by 1 and then up by 3. 1, 2, 3. Take a sideways view like this and extend the white concrete to the right by 2 using black concrete. 1, 2. Then a white concrete. Extend 2 black concretes on top of each white. 1, 2. 1, 2. In the left corner inside of this, place a smooth quartz block. Right of it a light blue concrete, on top of that a smooth quartz, and left of that a light blue concrete. Black concrete on top of the light blue and the quartz, white concrete in the corners, and then white concrete on top. We then want to join all of this down to the ground using white concrete. And then behind this, we want to place a bunch of white concrete to reinforce the sign. And of course, this is the BMW logo, and this will just kind of help cement what dealership this is. And speaking of cementing things, what we now want to do, that makes no sense with what we're about to do, but hey, what we now want to do is make the BMW logo banners. So to make your BMW logo banner, open up your loom and place a white banner in there. Add a light blue dye and place light blue dye in this position. You're looking for the light blue Chief Dexter Canton. Basically, a little square in the top left hand corner of the banner. Grab that, put that back in, place more light blue dye in there, and this time you're looking to make the right half of the banner light blue, so the light blue per pale inverted. Grab that, put that back in, put white dye in there, and you're looking for the White Chief Sinister Canton, which is essentially just a little square in the top right hand corner of the banner. Grab that, put that back in, place black dye in there, and you're looking to make the lower third of the banner black, like this. Grab that, put that back in, and then you want to add a border around this. Once you have added the border, you now have the entire banner. So we're going to hang these next to the entrance, so just on the 2 rows of light grey concrete like this, and they look really good up there. I think that they kind of just help to further illustrate what this place is, as if the giant sign hadn't done it already. The banners will also be useful later on when we start making vehicles, which brings us on to this next part. We have to do a little bit of gardening. This next part is incredibly simple. We want the first 4 rows of the grid, extending from the front to the back, left to right, to be grey concrete. We then want the rest of the surrounding area inside of the grid to be made out of light grey terracotta. This of course doesn't account for the inside, but I'm sure that you guys could have figured that out already. Once you... This next part is really simple, especially if you have world edit. The first 4 rows of your grid want to be made out of grey concrete, so simply replace the material, grass, white concrete, whatever it might be, using 4 rows of grey concrete, spanning the width of the grid. The rest of the remaining area outside of the building, yet inside of the grid, wants to be replaced using light grey terracotta. So once again, using world edit for this, making it nice and simple, however also a little bit complicated in the fact that I also have to redo my little flower bed on the front right hand side of the grid, which I'm upgrading, I think upgrading, by placing sea lanterns underneath the leaves, just to add a little something. Now with all of the outside done and the structure of the building complete, we can now take a look at the inside. There isn't a great deal to make on the inside, as of course, most of this is occupied by vehicles, which we will cover in the next part of the tutorial. However, we do want to come to the back right hand corner of the build, and begin by placing a row of 6 cyan terracotta extending forwards from the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to extend up by 2, 1, 2, and then left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then extend up, and then also down. We want to continue extending to the left by 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we want to join down. What we then want to do is extend the row of 3 that we have on the right hand side backwards, and we also want to extend this horizontal part here all the way across to make a platform. Now once that has been done, we want to also fill in the left side of this as well to make a box. We want to make a window, so this area inside of here, we want to dig out just the right side in the ground, replace it with sea lanterns, and we do also need a little bit of glass as well, so we'll just grab that and place that here. This underneath part is kind of just like a chill area for the customers. So in the corner we're going to have a sofa, so quartz stairs, extend left by 1, and then we want to turn it sideways, extend the right across, extend the back across to the right, and then extend sideways. We want to make a little planter, so this is a couple of grey glazed terracotta with oak leaves on top. And then in the back corner here we're going to have a little just a little table, so we're going to use grey concrete for this, I think, just to have a little bit of contrast. I was going to use white, but 1, 2, 3 grey concretes, And then we can stick, say, like a brewing stand on here, a couple of flower pots just as a little bit of a drinks area. And then on the wall, maybe like a TV, so a 1x2 or something like that will look just fine. And we don't have to go into too much more detail, like we can stick a lantern inside of here and it will look just fine. And I'm pretty happy with the result of that. It doesn't want to be too complicated. On the left side here, we want to actually be able to climb up. So we're going to add some stairs. This is going to be as much stairs as we need to reach the top here. And then we can place something underneath these. Maybe we can even place some more cyan terracotta, actually, maybe to kind of like help blend it in a little bit. So cyan terracotta, just extending back like this. I think that looks pretty good. And then up at the top here, we can have another plank made using the grey glazed terracotta with some oak leaves on top. We want to add a glass barrier around the edge of this, so we're going to place some light grey glass block, and we will also fill in this little section here using some glass as well. And up here is essentially an office, so I'm realising now that we actually need this area. So we have placed glass here, but what we could do is we can simply just add a little bit of polished andesite slabs instead of the glass, and it won't make much of a difference. We just fill the top of this in with glass like this, and then this leaves us enough room for an office area. So what we can now do, just in the back, we can grab the white concrete, the polished black stone pressure plates, paintings, and also the quartz stairs, maybe even lanterns as well. And we can make a couple of desks, so a couple of rows of white concrete like this, with just some 1x1s. So maybe we'll place it here, kind of like just equal to each other, just on the right side, and then polished blackstone pressure plates just in front of the paintings, and then a chair made using a quartz stair, so they can even be pushed up to the desk, or you can leave them as is. And then you can just place other stuff on the desk as well, so maybe a lantern or a flower pot or something similar to that. And we can also add a couple more desks that are pretty much the exact same. Buttons could actually work as well, because they'd look like drawers. So you could just add some buttons as well in the desk. So maybe on the left side on both. And then we can copy these just a little bit further along if you do so wish. So with these, we would have to have trapdoors to make computers, or we could just have like closed laptops, so just in the form of pressure plates, and you could still have the same layout pretty much if you wanted to, but you could kind of like well, actually, I wouldn't mix it up a bit, because I guess all of the desks and the chairs and such would actually be the same, so we'd probably have the buttons on the left side every single time, but you could mix and match them if you wanted to. And if we take a little look, I mean, that looks like a nice, respectable little office area up there. And then it's kind of like up to you if you want to add extra decoration. So we could add, say, like the BMW logo, like here and here, kind of just to highlight this little area a little bit, or maybe just the one, or maybe just hanging up here. And we can also have like paintings on the walls if you can find a nice way to divide the paintings up on these walls. So yeah, this would work quite nicely. So this would work in such a way that we can have like some 1x2s and then a 1x1. I'm thinking that probably not the... I'm thinking more like these sorts of paintings would look a little bit better in here. I think that looks pretty good, and of course you can hang lanterns wherever you like, and we can have the exact same on this opposite wall if you want as well, but it's not absolutely necessary, and as a matter of fact I'll leave it myself. And in doing that, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, you have actually made the entire inside and outside of your dealership minus one thing. We are, of course, missing the vehicles, ladies and gentlemen. In the next tutorial, I will show you how to make a car, an SUV, and a motorcycle. So stay tuned for the tutorial. You will be able to find a link for it down below in the description. The thumbnail will look like this. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you liked the video. If you have, please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell next to the subscription button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!